Ruby, members of the family, Reverend Clergy, I want to thank you first, Ruby, for inviting me to come today. I had to go to the doctor first. Well, like Harry said about Ossie, I don't want to rush this. And so I couldn't break this commitment. I kept looking at the watch and I thought to myself, this is his funeral. They'll still be there at 2 o'clock. But I want you to know that I asked to sit in the back of the church. I would proudly ride on the back of Ossie Davis's bus any day. Dr. Budd said that Ossie could have been, maybe was a Baptist preacher. He would have been a very good president of the United States. I have only this to say. Like most of you here, he gave more to me than I ever gave to him. But whenever I saw Ossie and Ruby, I thought, you know, they're beautiful and brilliant and talented. They're warm and they're friendly and they're humble. What is it that they are that makes me feel so good every time I see them? And finally I realized that they were free and always have been. I never was in Ossie Davis's presence, not one time, that I didn't want to stand up a little straighter. You know, speak a little better. Be a little more generous. Not very long ago, the great Nina Simone passed on to her reward. She sang my favorite song of the Civil Rights Movement. I wish I knew how it would feel to be free. I wish I could break all the chains holding me. I wish I could rise like a bird in the sky. I'd soar like an eagle when I found I could fly. I wish that you knew how it feels to be me. Then you'd see and agree every man should be free. That lesson is what Ossie Davis taught all of us for 87 years. He labored so other people might enjoy that freedom. But his came from inside, from the greatness of his spirit, from the connection to his Maker, from the power of his love with Ruby and their family. And I think I can speak for all of us when I say, thank you, God, for letting us know him. God bless you.
Tonight, my friend, I find in being black a thing of beauty, a joy, a strength, a secret cup of gladness, a native land in neither time nor place, a native land in every Negro face. Be loyal to yourself, your skin, your hair, your lips, your southern speech, your laughing kindness are Negro kingdoms vast as any other. Accept in full the sweetness of your blackness, not wishing to be red, nor white, nor yellow, nor any other race or faith but this. Farewell, my deep and Africanic brothers. Be brave. Keep freedom in the family. Do what you can for the white folks. And write to me in care of the post office. Now, may the Constitution of the United States go with you. The Declaration of Independence stand by you, and the Bill of Rights protect you, and the State Commission Against Discrimination keep the eyes of the law upon you henceforth, now, and forevermore. Amen.
Good afternoon. As those of you who watch regularly know, this is 30 frames a second, and I'm Nat Wood. That was footage that I shot from the late, great Ossie Davis's funeral. If you've been following the program, you know that for the past couple of months or so, we've been showing archival footage in an effort to first of all, document what we do historically, but to understand, to help you understand how we bridge the gap between the then and the now. Last week we ran Gil, today we ran Ossie, and they all had the same message. As Avery Brooks stated in reciting from Pearly Victorious, Ossie Davis's legendary play Pearly Victorious, be brave. My Afrikaner brothers, be proud of who you are, proud of what you look like. Don't desire to be anything else. Ossie Davis was an extraordinary individual. If you were able to see the audience and see the quality of people who came to his funeral, you knew that he was an extraordinary person. And it wasn't because he was simply an extraordinary and gifted artist, which he was. It was because he was an extraordinary and gifted human being who loved his people and gave all he had, left everything on the floor. Today we're going to try to continue that tradition of bringing art and culture and politics and forward movement and a love of freedom and a love of each other back to the front lines where it has never left. Today my guest is Mr. Curtis Sherrod. He is the Executive Director of the Hip Hop Culture Center. He also works with Jackie Rowe Adams in her effort to bring attention to and try to solve the problem of the violence that just is devastating our young people and cutting them off at the knees, taking a baseball bat to their knees and inhibiting their growth. This is a fascinating brother. He's doing fantastic things. If anybody is living the tradition of an Ossie Davis, it would be Curtis Sherrod. We hope that you enjoy the program. Usually you do. With that, if you guys in the back have my opening, we're going to run that opening and we'll be back. Bye. Where the victim is now the perpetrator and the perpetrator is now the victim. And that just drives me crazy. My brother, I am so pleased that you were able to join us.
Pleasure to be here. So glad I could make it.
Excellent. I'm gonna ask you sort of three questions at the same time. It will give you a chance to establish who you are, what you do, and how you came to being.
Gotcha.
And that's pretty much the three questions. How did the Hip Hop Cultural Center come to be? What's your mission? And what are you doing now that hopefully we can help facilitate in some way?
Gotcha. Okay, well, the Hip Hop Culture Center, what we do, we use hip hop to bring young people in, to intrigue them. Once we get them, we teach them economic literacy, political awareness, diet and nutrition. We could pretty much take any lesson plan, any curriculum, and regurgitate it in a hip hop centric way that's digestible for the young people. And it works out pretty well for us.
Now, you in the tradition of Ossie Davis, you are using art as science and using science as medicine, in that you are using the art to bring them in, giving them the science that they need to advance themselves, and a cultural base by which they attempt to flourish.
Correct. And what I enjoy so much is that we're building bridges, generational bridges. For example, when I first started working with Jackie, me and some of the MCs or rappers that I work with, we were going to plan a anti-gun march.
Now, before you start, who is Jackie?
Jackie Rowe Adams is an amazing woman who actually, unfortunately, lost 2 children to gun violence. And because of this, she decided to channel that negative energy into something positive, and she formed an organization called Harlem Mothers Save. And the SAVE is an acronym for Stop Another Violent End.
She lost 2
She not
children.
just 1, 2. And it was so touching because when I first met her, she brought other parents with her to our venue, and there were other parents who lost more than 1 child to gun violence. So,
wow.
That just lets you know how intense this phenomenon is impacting our communities. You know, what happened in Connecticut is horrific, yes, you know, but this is something that we've been enduring for some time.
Good Lord. And somehow, some way, she found the strength to soldier on and try to take her own devastating tragedy and empower others so that they might not go through this thing.
Yeah, I mean, where does one go when you lose a child? I mean, there is
Crazy.
no go-to bereavement service or organization for that, except for hers that I know about. There's a couple others, but, you know, in the Harlem community, that's what she's doing. And it was very interesting. When we start meeting the parents didn't like hip-hoppers. You know, there was a little animosity in the air because they felt hip-hop took their children away. And so the first thing we did is I married a rapper to a parent. And I had the rappers interview the parents to find out what was their child like, what were they into, what were their passions, what were their likes, dislikes. And then the rappers end up making songs about their children to memorialize them. And that was the first project that we did together, and it was very moving. And then we became people. You know, we see each other in the street. Hey, you see any of the parents? They see us. We start forming, once again, that bridge that I was talking about. And then to continue on, we decided to do a parade. Not a march, actually. It was an end gun violence march. And we would say these rhymes while we marched through the streets of Harlem. And so now that I see this dynamic that it seems the violence is escalating, I was like, okay, how can I get some more of the hip-hop nation involved? And so every year previously, we do something called a rap-a-thon. And a rap-a-thon is when we get like 125 rappers to rap non-stop for 28 hours. No cursing, no N-word, no B-word. And so I said, you know what, let's do an end gun violence rap-a-thon. And then all the proceeds go to Harlem Mothers Save so that they in turn can move into their new facility and have you know, tools and equipment and things to service the community. And so that's the mission that we're on right now.
Now, I can relate to what you're saying about the disconnect between, say, my generation and that thing that has become hip-hop. I, more often than not, have found myself unbelievably frustrated with the focus of hip-hop. Mm-hmm. But in fairness to hip-hop, hip-hop was just the most in-your-face way of putting out a message that was indicative of almost all of us. That somehow we had lost our way. We had a focus and a goal. Hip-hop started out with a focus and a goal. Hip-hop was a part of us. And somehow it went from our sons and daughters doing what black kids everywhere, urban black kids, southern black kids, poor kids, but certainly poor black American kids, have done forever, which is take something and make something new and fresh and uniquely ours. And somewhere along the way, and it's not just hip-hop, it seems like it's mostly hip-hop because you hear hip-hop all the time. You don't hear, you know, the masses of people like you hear hip-hop over the TV and the radio and, you know. But it seems as though we lost our way. We lost our blackness. We lost our love of each other. We became isolated and materialistic and hateful and collectively as a society.
Well, you know what, Nat? For clarity's sake, and I think this is what the problem is, it's because hip-hop has been hijacked. Hip-hop is one entity that's been hijacked by rap. Now, I'm going to break down the difference between rap culture and hip-hop culture.
Okay.
Hip-hop culture has 5 elements. The first element of hip-hop is graffiti. The second element of hip-hop is DJing. The third element of hip-hop is breakdancing. The fourth element of hip-hop is MCing. We never called it rapping. People outside our community said, oh, look, they're rapping to the beat. And they called it rapping. We called it MCing. That's why when you look at these rappers, it always says MC such and such and MC so-and-so, because MC was mic controller, master of the ceremony.
Right.
And so the culture has been distorted. Oh, and the last element is knowledge of self. The last element of hip-hop is knowledge of self. So that's hip-hop, unfortunately.
So by definition, this cannot be hip-hop because the last element has been...
well, what occurred, rap culture, right, which was a way to commercially make money off of hip-hop, has become the face of hip-hop. People confuse the two. People realize, we're talking today, and I'm sure your listeners are listening, and they think, oh, there's a difference between rap culture and hip-hop culture? And I'm here to tell you, yes, you know, rap culture is when, as opposed to collectively doing something communally to improve your community, this is a selfish thing. How can I make money off what I'm doing? It's the capitalistic version of hip-hop. When hip-hop first started, there were no records. There were no commerce. You did it for the love. We were jamming in. I had my first record in 1979. Lord knows I didn't make any money. We were doing it for free. We were doing it because the school system stopped giving music programs. We were doing it because New York was going through the worst economic downturn it's ever seen. Mayor Beam and Ford said, you know, it was a interesting time. All right? All of a sudden, corporate America was like, okay, this thing is not dying. This jungle music is not going away. How can we exploit it?
And they were, not to cut you off, but they were exploiting disco at the time. So not only was this innovative, it was a complete different art form than anything that was being played at the time.
Correct.
I mean, it was completely different. If anything was like created out of our history that had nothing to do with what was going on commercially, it would have been hip-hop because they were talking Macho Man, and
Disco Duck.
Disco Duck, and here comes this this hip-hop phenomenon that although
that saved my life. So,
and the funny part is, it was like it was familiar to us from a cultural aspect, but in some ways we had become so indoctrinated in white society that it was kind of strange to us too. You know, it's like, well, what are they doing? You know,
as a guideline, when you're listening to music, how you know it's hip hop as opposed to rap?
Right.
A hip hop song can last for 25 years, for 35 years, for 40 years. A rap song, very disposable, microwavable. It's the flavor of the week. And that's how you could tell. I know songs that were made 35 years ago, and when you hear the lyrics like Melly Mel, a child is born with no state of mind, blind to the way. See, that's hip-hop. And there are some hip-hop artists today.
That was riveting, too. I mean, that stopped everybody in their tracks. The sheer storytelling ability, the truth, the honesty, the giving voice to every single thing that every single parent and child, black or brown child, was going through, living in the inner cities. Suddenly this guy comes out of nowhere and just gives voice to every single thing that you... I mean, you couldn't even give voice to it.
That's hip hop. You see,
yourself.
it gets a tingle in your spine.
Right.
That's hip hop.
Right.
So that's the difference. So I'm glad that we've been able to clarify the difference between hip hop culture and rap culture.
And don't get it twisted. As an urban parent during that time, when I was living that was my mindset. Don't push me.
Because I'm close to the edge.
Right. I'm trying hard.
Not to lose my head.
Right. I mean, now, when you talked about the Hip Hop Cultural Center, and I'm kind of trying to bridge the gap because it's easy to bridge. You talked about some of the things that you focus on. And one of the things you talked about that you focused on there was economics.
Yeah, economic literacy.
Economic literacy. And that is very important for a couple of reasons. First of all, we talked about how rap has gotten away from trying to incorporate knowledge of itself, that it's getting away from who we are.
Right.
And it seems to be very materialistic, and it seems to be very capitalistic. But it's capitalistic no matter how much we try to avoid being black. And no matter how much we try to avoid the oxymoron of capitalism as it pertains to black people, Africans and African Americans, people in the African diaspora, it is inescapable. When they talk about subprime loans, the phrase they use is ghetto loans.
Yeah.
Black people, you talk about capitalism, this is capitalism at its apex. And when you talk about capitalism, there is capitalism for everyone else and there is capitalism for us. The same thing with rap. There is music for everyone else and there is music for us.
Yes.
And our music has to be designed to lock us collectively in place, while music for everyone else is all-encompassing. Music for everyone else means that there is a stage for Radiohead, as well as Justin Timberlake, as well as Justin Bieber, as well as Michael Bublé, as well as Irish cats like Mumford & Sons. All of these things can be incorporated into their music. With rap, it seems to be a one-trick pony, and that pony is meant to debase us collectively in some way. And anytime we try to break from that, we are pushed back, steered into that mode. So there's, like I said, there's capitalism, and then there is capitalism for us. It's like looking into a mirror. You know, you raise your right hand when you're looking into a mirror, but it's not your right hand. You're, it's
the trick
it's
bag.
Your left hand looking back at you, but you think it's you. And you talk about financial literacy.
Right.
Financial literacy is a weapon that has been used against us to take advantage of the fact that we are not very sophisticated in the ways of the white man.
With hip-hop, it's very easy for us to teach it, though. For what we do, we go, okay, guys, what is the difference between appreciation and depreciation? Now we're going to take a rapper, and we're going to look at early purchases that a typical rapper may make. Okay, first you're going to get some bling bling, right?
Right.
All right, you may get yourself a nice car.
Right.
As soon as you buy that car, does it appreciate or does it depreciate?
Right.
All right, now you're going to further depreciate that vehicle by putting these rims on there and putting this custom paint and doing all these other things that really close your market value for the worth of this vehicle, as opposed to with that same amount of money. Let's say you'd have bought a brownstone. Okay, now will that appreciate and depreciate? And then they can see for themselves, gee, so you mean to tell me if I buy this brownstone with the same amount of money, right, then I could charge people rent to live in that brownstone. I could put a studio on one of the floors in my brownstone. I could, do you understand? And that's one way. Or just money. A lot of kids get summer jobs. They go to the check cashing place. They charge you more to go to the check cashing place. The sooner you start a financial relationship with a financial institution, the better it is. right? So now let's say you open up a bank account, right? And let's say you start working with this bank. You know who the manager of the bank is. You go there to make your deposits. Let's say you want to take a small loan out, right? You're now establishing credit, okay? And now you're building your net worth as you start to perhaps buy property, as you perhaps buy other things that appreciate as opposed to depreciate. And so through hip-hop, we talk about this. Or even in hip-hop, there are certain jobs that come and go. And there's certain jobs that live forever. We say, hey, you can get a hip-hop job that appreciates, like be a sound engineer. A sound engineer, he don't need to have a hit-hot record, you know. He's still going to be, okay, I'm working. Or be a producer, all right, or getting to publishing, all right, or be an entertainment lawyer. You can still be involved with what you love and get involved in a way that appreciates as opposed to a way that depreciates. And that's one of the ways we do our financial literacy program.
Now, one of the things that motivated me to understand economics from a very specialized, intricate way, was the fact that I started making children and having grandchildren. And suddenly there were, like it says in Roots, behold,
the only thing greater than you.
The only thing greater than you.
Right.
And suddenly I saw life even beyond my existence, as opposed to just what I could have for the here and now. In short, my children and grandchildren became my greatest asset. And it was incumbent upon me to do things that would enable them to keep my legacy alive. It's almost like Godfather style, you know. If you want to get gangster about it, it's like, you know, this is the family, and this is what we do, you know, in perpetuity. You know, it's like Don Corleone telling Michael, you know, how to run this thing even after I'm dead.
It's your richest asset, your family.
That is correct.
It's your richest
That
one.
is correct. And a lot of times it seems like we have taken our eyes off the prize, because when you talk about assets that are really liabilities that depreciate and grow no wealth, you're really talking about having a focus on trivial things that have nothing to do with anything real, that we have lost our focus. And if you can regain your focus, if you can regain a sense of what is valuable, you will in turn make better decisions, or at least gravitate towards learning how to make better decisions. It seems like we have gone so, you know, I got new shoes, you know, things that get you beat up in the street if you was growing up. If you came in the block talking about I got new shoes and you ain't got none.
On Delancey Street, on Jennings Street, Simpson Street, they stick you up.
Right. So when you talk about the Hip Hop Cultural Center, and you talk about things like financial literacy and health, and when you talk about working with Jackie Rowe Adams and gun violence and how that translates in our community, you're really talking about a completely different mindset and you know, a way of thinking, a completely different way of thinking, and a way of going about that. That is very, very bold and progressive, and yet it's very old school. How did you do that? You don't look as old school as me.
My mother is old school, my father is old school, and I was raised. And I think that once I was fortunate enough, my mother was a teacher, you know, and my father, he had a nice job, but he knew the streets.
Right.
And so having a combination of those two influenced me.
Make it bad.
You know, and then I'm yeah, it does. And
Make
I guess
it bad, dude.
I'm the last of the Generation Xers.
Right.
Like I remember when TV used to go off.
Right.
You know, I remember certain things. You know, when I was a kid, pizza was 35 cents.
Right.
The train was 35 cents. So for a little bit of money, you could really do rich things. We were encouraged to go to the planetarium, and as a teacher, every school trip she went on, I I went on.
Right.
So where we going to? The library, the Bronx Zoo, the Botanical Gardens,
Right.
whatever. So I had that rich learning, but then I had the streets.
Right.
You know, and then I wasn't scared of the cops. It was more like,
right.
oh, I'm gonna tell your father.
Right.
You know, and so once you have the situation where you're more scared of your father than the police, you know, then you have a mother who loves you. Fortunately, I was able to receive that. And it served me my whole life. Served me my whole. And then I got into the hip hop game early. Like I said, I had my first hip hop record in 1979, and my folks were like, "Well, this is cute, but now you're going to school." So now I went to school. Then I got a job in marketing and advertising, and I worked in advertising and marketing for 20 years.
Excellent.
And then I was like, "Wow, okay, I did okay for myself." But as you look around, this is the first generation of black people that's not doing better than the generation before.
Right.
And what are you going to do about it?
Right.
And that's what called me to think of a clever way to leverage what I know about hip hop to work with my people, because I refuse to be scared of young people.
Right.
I'm not going to walk down the street and be cowering when I see a young person, but if I'm able to maintain this knowledge of hip hop, which is something that they love too,
Right.
we can find common ground. Now, once we have common ground, we can do dialogue. And once we
Right.
have dialogue,
Right.
I can influence. And once I can influence, you know, now we're in play.
Right. Well, it's kind of hard for me to be afraid of young people because most of the most lethal young people there are call me Uncle Nat. You know. But I think we have a call. We're going to take the call. Whenever they put it through, we'll take it.
Hello?
Hello, you're on the air.
What's the best place to buy hip-hop music in New York?
I think online. I hate to say it, you know, because online you can use your own appetite for what you desire. Unfortunately, the paradigm of going to a record store is archaic and a thing of the past. Right now, the internet and your computer is the best way to find music.
So what would you say is the second best if you don't have access to a computer?
Okay. Turn the speakers down a little bit because it is a little overpowering.
Well,
I'm sorry.
What are your personal tastes? What type of music do you care for?
It's hard for me to say on the telephone,
Oh, okay.
but you know, once I have choices, I can pick it out.
Well, I hate to say it, but there's so much, it's a plethora, a cornucopia. You know, if you can't find what you want on the internet, brother, you ain't gonna find it.
If you go to the library, you can access their computers, and I'm sure that there are people there who can help you access their computers. For what you're talking about, all you really need is a computer that has a search engine of some sort, a Bing or a Google, some box that you can type in the words. You don't even have to spell it right. The computer will spell it for you. They'll ask you, did you mean this? Once you type
so
in,
you guys got to speak up because we can't hear you on the telephone.
all right. What you need to do is go to the public library. And when you go to the public library, they generally have computers there, and someone will help you access what you want. Once you have access to a computer, and again, we're talking new paradigm, there's no way you can even survive without some sort of access to a computer anymore. I mean, it's almost impossible to get a passport, to put in a job application, anything without a computer. But you can go to the public library and type in the words old school hip hop or whatever, you know, an artist that you want into any search engine, and you will be directed to someplace you can get it. They have online services. The place I got this computer, I'm not going to tell you where I got this computer, but it's a famous online computer service, and this computer is fire. So maybe that'll help you.
And on free TV, you can still get Video Music Box with Ralph McDaniels, on Channel 25, and he features old school artists, new school artists. He gives a great variety, and it's free. Channel 25, you could always turn to Uncle Ralph and check out his stuff, and he always has great music.
And his main man, is Ken Murphy, and Ken Murphy is an Eminem producer, lifelong Eminem producer. He'll know how to steer you in someplace positive and whatnot. So if you watch Eminem, Call Eminem. Find out when Ken Murphy's show is on, or how to get in contact with Ken Murphy, and Ken Murphy will help you access Ralph McDaniels. He loves Ralph McDaniels. Ralph McDaniels is like the
his
father
uncle.
of this thing.
His uncle.
His uncle, his real uncle. You know, he's a good brother. He's forward thinking. And I'm sure he will help facilitate anything you're talking about.
You're right. I know Murph. Great guy.
He
Nice
really
guy.
is. He's beautiful people. He's beautiful people. He's a family man.
Good photographer too. I'm starting to see.
He's a good brother. He's a good brother. He's a good brother. And that's my eminent plug for the year. Go on, money. I think we got another call. Yeah. Caller, if you're there, you can put the call through. Turn your television all the way down.
How you doing?
All right.
All right, cool. I'm gonna turn it up right now.
All right.
How you doing?
Oh, how you doing, brother?
All right. Your guest. Your guest. I don't see his name on your listed as in text on the show. What's your guest's name, by the way?
My name is Curtis Sherrod. Curtis Sherrod.
Spell it for me,
Okay,
especially
great.
Sherrod.
Okay, the volume is kind of low, so I'm trying my best to hear what you have to say. So you're
right.
Curtis Villar.
Nope. You know what? Boom. It's on screen right now, my good man. It's on screen
great.
right now.
Okay, Culture Center. Okay, where is the Hip Hop Culture Center?
All right. Right now, we operate from two venues, the Kennedy Center on 135th, as well as the Harlem Commonwealth Council on 125th Street.
Okay, and you have a central website, hiphopculturecenter.com, something like that?
Actually, it's h2c2harlem.com. H2.
Oh, wait, let me write that down.
Yeah, there you go. H2.
Okay, what's the website again?
H2
Yes.
C2 Harlem.com.
Harlem.com. Okay.
Yes, sir.
My question was more of a comment and a question because I'm 44 years old, and I do know what you're saying about the Generation X factor. And in my generation, we had people who, in my life, I had people who were street smart and also book smart. And I fell in the category of like your father and yourself, a little bit of both. And I went to art and design vocational high school. Then I went to School of Visual Arts in Parsons. And like you, I got the little flavor of the hip hop, industry, the fashion industry, and even the illustration graffiti industry, and I put it all together, and I made a career for myself in advertising.
Oh,
my question to you: did you feel like when you're doing your advertising thing for 20 years that you faced a lot of barriers, racism vis-a-vis the color of your skin got you so far, or you were just a token? Because I think you're a little bit older than me, because I'm 44 years old,
and
I feel the same way now. And how have you tried any remedies for that? That type of thing. And we can go on about the type of agencies that try to pioneer and help out minorities in marketing and advertising, I think it's called New York Human Rights Society, of that sort. But go ahead, brother, talk.
Hey, that's a heavy one. That's a heavy one. And the first thing that I had to do is make myself very, very competent. And once you become very competent in the marketing advertising field, then you have the right to be confident. And when you marry competency with competence, right, and your confidence, you then begin to move. Because what occurs, back in the days, even when people were very, very racist, if a man gets hit by a car and he's bleeding to death, and you say you're a doctor, even though you're a black doctor, if that man is bleeding to death, he's going to respect your knowledge. And because I tried to make myself as knowledgeable as possible, where my parents told me, listen, you have to operate at 150%. You have to be 150% better than everybody else. And if you're able to maintain that, you're going to be all right. It ain't fair, but life ain't fair. And so I always went into every agency, no matter if it was the advertising, the account executives, the editors, the studio managers, the production people, the account executives, the comptroller, the controller. I end up knowing more about what needed to be done than they knew. So that at the end of the day, they had to rely on me and my knowledge set. So all I can say is be the very best. Be the best. Do not compromise. Do not be mediocre, and you will thrive. Because the world is not producing excellent people anymore. It seems like everybody wants to be mediocre.
You became far more indispensable than they actually had a open door for you and realized your expertise. Now, you've been in the game for 20 years, so you probably know all like Saatchi and Saatchi, DDBO,
all of them, baby, all of them,
BBDO, Gray Advertising,
all of them,
Y and Kennedy. Did you flow from the TV production? What was your specialty? TV production, brand identity, advertising, point of purchase, pharmaceutical, or was it product design, or what?
I tell you, I was an expert at traffic. I had the ability to take a job from conception to endpoint in a timely and cost-effective manner. So I was like a traffic or a project manager per se. My niche was pharmaceutical. So I can get something through the FDA, medical legal review. I knew about your references, how many copies you had to make, the duping process, the whole 9 yards.
Right, the fair balance and the legal issues.
Yeah. I could do a PI or a product disclosure, whatever you needed. I can make that happen because I really applied myself to try to be the best.
All right, brother.
Well, that's fantastic. I want to contact you in the future. I'll call you and look you up in your business.
Hey, I look forward to it.
Excellent. One of the things that I want to say is that, and you are really doing this, and I think that this cannot be overlooked. As talented as you are, as talented as the brother who called may or may not be, as talented as I may or may not think myself to be, the very fact that you are working with Jackie Rowe Adams, that people who know you brought you here, that we are talking about people like Ken Murphy and Ralph McDaniels, Ralph McDaniels, suggests to me that we are getting back to who we are. We are going back to our roots in a way that recognizes the contribution of each other and respects the contributions that we make. And in so doing, create power moves as opposed to operating exclusively on our own. One of the things, you can be very, very talented, but when you're out there all alone, you are literally at the disposal of a system that historically ain't got much use for you, And no matter what you accomplish, you have to add the caveat at the end, I'm bad, I'm hardworking, I'm yada, and I'm black. You almost always have to add that caveat because the system is designed to make sure that you only get too far. They used to say back in the old days, down south you can get close but you can't get too big, and up north you can get big but you can't get too close. And we are coming into an era. First of all, we know how extraordinarily gifted we are. We really do. Every time I look around, we're doing extraordinary stuff. The clip I ran, Avery Brooks, that was extraordinary. The whole room was filled with extraordinary, gifted black people, intelligent black people, articulate black people, talented black people. Ossie Davis had the capacity to bring these types of people together, and I think that's what we're trying to do here, is bring us together. Not
nice
so much,
segue, baby.
Well,
That's nice.
I really am. First of all, it gives me motivation, because sometimes you can start thinking you're in the world all by yourself. It's just me against the world, and the world is hard, And then when you see other people, like-minded people, very cool people who are like really struggling in spite of it all, and I'll use that to segue into Jackie. When you look at someone, a black woman who lost two sons, Jesus Christ, they running roughshod over, you think they running roughshod over black people in general. They got a thing, everybody is just hunting black boys,
Yeah, we in season. We in season.
You know, like just deer meat.
Yeah.
You know, I've never seen anything like it. I mean, it's like everybody wants to kill you and bring you down. You know, it's the police, it's each other, it's just everybody and everything. There's more black boys and it's becoming black boys and girls. But there are more black and brown people in jail today than there was in 1850. You know, in slavery. That's just phenomenal. That's just phenomenal.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So when I see the tenacity, as well as the brilliance, you know, but it's good to see the tenacity and the focus, because I really don't need the world's smartest enemies.
There you go.
You know, I am really appreciative. So what's the next move for you guys? What's the next move for you? What's the next move for Jackie?
If anyone's listening, the Rapathon, well, I know people are listening because y'all are calling in. The Rapathon is on April 6th. So you could just go to Harlem Mother Saves website. You can find out all about it. Please come. It's going to be a great event. Lots of fellowship. And I think it's rare to see 100 MCs in one room, all enjoying each other's company, all like in the history of the Culture Center, we've never had a fight. We've never had a shootout. We're so under the radar, people don't even know we exist sometimes because we don't ruffle any feathers. We just come in and we're just so happy to be able to do our thing. So please go to Harlem Mother Saves website or go to their Facebook page and come out on April 6th to the Rapathon. We're holding it at the Kennedy Center. That's right on 135th Street. It's huge, it's big, enough room for everybody. Or if you know someone who's talented and wants to participate in the Rapathon, we're having auditions soon. We're looking for people. Now, to be in the Rapathon, you just have to be able to rhyme nonstop for 90 seconds straight. So if you know someone who could rhyme nonstop for 90 seconds without cursing, please, we would love for you to be part of this event.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. That is a glorious opportunity. We need far more educational opportunities. The Hip Hop Cultural Center presents a lot of educational opportunities. When I refer to this contraption, our schools need a major upgrade. We need, the paradigm has shifted. We need to know economics. We need to have arts programs. We need to have music programs. We need to have legitimate sports programs. We need to have schools that allow us to develop according to our potential and according to our own specific dreams and aspirations, you know, to build the future. And the paradigm has shifted. Ain't no jobs for white folks. So you know, if they get a job, it ain't really gonna be for a lot of y'all. That is compounded by the fact that, as I said before, I think I said to you possibly before the show, we started the show. You can't even afford the tenements anymore. They're taking the tenements from poor people in New York City. You know, this is Mayor Bloomberg's $1 billion city of rats. This is the only place I know where a tenement costs $1 billion and there's rats running around in the street like it's all right. This must be some magic land.
Yeah, but you know what? You got to keep hope. You know, because the hope is what fuels us as a people to be able to take these burdens and to continue on. And often I may talk to like a young person who's complaining or he's upset about a scenario, and I go, okay, granted, you're going through a rough period right now, but let's take it back. Let's say we somehow got a slave from slavery, and he went to your place right now, and he saw your closet. He got, wow, you got 7 pair of Air Jordan sneakers here? Wow. Oh, is that your closet filled with all these clothes? All right, let's open this refrigerator. So this is your refrigerator of your food, and you can come and eat and whenever you want. Okay, your parents have a car? I mean, and so we have to keep in perspective, A, the struggle and the journey, realize that the journey and struggle still continues, and have hope and aspiration that the next generation will be able to flourish and take us to that next level. Because slowly and surely, the good guys win. Slowly but surely, the good guys win. So what we have to do is put ourselves in position to win.
And it ain't over till we win. And I don't know, a lot of you are not so sophisticated, and you are fed a lot of negative banner, and that tends to lock you in place. But for those of us who had a chance to witness the Republican primaries, and you've heard people like Rick Perry of Texas talk, and you've heard Bachman talk, and you heard Herman Cain talk. For those of you who doubt yourself, ask yourself, if they can do it, how hard can it be? We just have to like refocus, apply ourselves. There is a glorious future to us that is waiting for us. But you got to reach out and grab it, you know, and you cannot be, you cannot allow yourself to believe that an obstacle is the same thing as a funeral. And we are going to be met with obstacle after obstacle after obstacle. But that's not a death knell. That's a marching song.
Hey, amen. Amen to that, brother. Amen.
Brother, I want to thank you so much. We're running out of time. We're coming into the last minute or so before they start rolling the music. Tell us again one last time. You got one last time to look into that camera. That's your camera. And
go to Harlem Mothers Saves website. Check out the Rapathon. Check us out. Okay, support us. Distribute the information. Contribute. Hey, it's a good cause. And at the end of the day, what are you going to do to make a difference?
oh my goodness, my big time editor, producer, superstar is sitting over there with a cup of coffee, Veronica Kitt. So I know we're in good company. I want to thank my guest, Curtis Sherrod. I want to thank you for watching, because you are on it. You're better than me. We'll see you next week. And this is Nat Wood saying peace. We're out. Roll that music. Thank you, brother.
Hey.
That was an excellent.
Pleasure was mine.
Yeah.
Glad I was able to come through.